Hello and welcome back to another episode of the North America Gaelic Games podcast. Today we want to welcome Ryan Mulcahy from Butte, Montana. Ryan, welcome to the show. Thank you for tuning in, and hope all's well in Montana.
It is great. Thanks, Gareth, for having me. This is a wonderful opportunity.
Perfect. Well, Ryan, just before we get talking about the club, tell us a little bit about yourself, obviously being from the Montana area, and what got you into the GAA all the way out there.
Oh, it's a little crazy. Just a little about myself. I was adopted into an Irish family. I'm the 53rd or 54th grandchild. It's still up for debate with the family tree. We haven't quite figured out which one I am, but I think I am the youngest grandchild. Extremely huge, extended family. Wonderful Irish family adopted me. I was born up northern Montana. I've been in Montana my whole life. Haven't left yet. Left a couple of times. I just didn't stay left. I kept coming back. Yeah, that's a little bit about me. Big
Were they
Irish
off?
family.
Were they right off the boat? Were they right off the boat Irish?
They were. My grandma was off the boat, came here, and then went back, and then came back.
Nice. Where were they from?
Cork area, all county Cork.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. So what got you into the GAA?
Two things. My wife was way more into it than me, and so she got me into it. And she got me interested into it. And then the Missoula guys really got me into it. So my wife, when she was 18, she went to Ireland, and her host father was John Dowling, and he was a coach I wrote this down so I get it right, in New Ross, but on the Kilkenny side of the river. And he was a principal math teacher at Good Counsel School. So she went over there when she was 18 and spent I think 6 months over there as an exchange student. So she was way more in depth and knowledgeable about hurling long before I was. When she came back, she came back long before we got married. After we got married, and she introduced me and told me all these things about Ireland. Obviously, I still haven't been to Ireland. Didn't really know what hurling was when she was telling me about it. But it sounded pretty cool. She was telling me, like she was Croke Park almost off the plane when she went there. Like she got to see it right away. Pretty impressive story. But she was over there, and she always talked about it, and she always talked about hurling. And about that time, sometime after, the Missoula guys had been doing the Irish Studies program, came over to Montana. The NCGAA and the Missoula college team got going really big. Like 2014, 2015, they banged out those two national championships right away, and kind of set the stage for Montana hurling. So they got this great idea. An old lad from Butte was living over in Missoula, and he's like, well, Butte has to have hurling. It just, he was convinced, Miles Maloney was convinced that Butte had to have hurling. So he started bringing a St. Patrick's Day game over here. So around 2017, he would come up. They started doing exhibition games, the college team, and then what is now the Thomas Mar team, over in Missoula. So I went, I think it was 2017, I went and watched the first match. I didn't play. I went to the little shindig they had. I went to the party, watched the match. It was wonderful. Thought it was really cool. Then Miles comes, this guy Miles Maloney. You'll hear a lot about Miles as you learn about Montana. He's my favorite historian. He's the person I have to contact if I need some info on the GAA or something else. But he came over to the library and did a public lecture on hurling, like just a lecture. And he had a hurl and he had a slitter, and he just sat up there, not on the field, couldn't pick the hurl up or anything. Well, he was, but we couldn't. But he got my 8-year-old son to listen strategically to his boring lecture about hurling. My little guy loved it. And that's kind of where it sparked, right? Right after that, I knew I really kind of liked it. So after that
And
story,
we have our friend Tanner as well.
yeah,
I'm assuming who was part of that college team.
yeah, he was part of that. He was part of that. I'm pretty sure he was on that original team of the first or second year that got that national championship. So, but after that lecture, my little guy's so interested in it, I'm like, well, I gotta kind of pick this up. But nothing happened for a while. Like, that lecture happened, the St. Patrick's Day match happened. It was great. We had fun. We watched it. And then about sometime in September of 2018, Miles calls me up and he says, we're going to do a tournament in Butte on October 7th. And he's like, I need you to get as many guys as you can. So I'm like, okay. I hung up the phone with him. I Facebooked people. I called 6 people, rounded up like 6 people to play in this tournament. And it was a sevens tournament. And he grabbed the guys from the Northwest. So the Northwest Division came down, Portland came down, Seattle came down. And they just threw us on teams and told us to play. We had no idea what we were doing. It was hilarious. I think I had 6 weeks to prepare, maybe not even that, a month to prepare. I didn't even know where to order a hurl, so I just typed in hurls, somehow got onto Barry Reynolds' website, ordered 6 hurls from Barry, had them shipped over. He's treated me really well since then. I think he's even given me some free ones. And we picked up the hurls, and for the first couple of weeks, we just went out on grass, and none of us knew what we were doing. But we figured if we could kind of swing a bat, we could kind of hit the hurl and hit the slitter, and that was it. That's how it started. We had no
It's all
idea.
right. I still don't know what I'm doing out there. I'm still gradually picking it up too. So we had a game on Saturday, and oh my god, like I come from a football background, and you think like, okay, well, the positions a little bit, a little bit about the spacing, the backs, the forwards, but yeah, if you can't pick that hurler or the slitter up, you're done for. So
But
I need to get back. I need to get back doing wall ball.
I was really, I fooled myself because, I was practicing alone. And when I'm alone, I'm really, really, really good. Like, I can pick it up magically when I'm the only one there. But you put a defender on me and it all changes. But so the tournament, tournament could be a long story, but so first week of October comes around. It turns in, we play the first tournament in classic Montana weather. It's below freezing. I think it maybe was 12 degrees that morning, and there's an inch of snow on the ground. We shoveled the sidelines with shovels so we could see. By the end of the first match, the field was clear. We did run around enough to clear the field after the first match, but it was freezing. So the first Butte tournament was it wasn't quite sub-zero, but it was single-digit temperatures and miserable. But God, was it fun! And
hurling in the cold is a different animal.
It was. Our hands, we couldn't feel our hands. We couldn't catch the ball. We couldn't catch the slitter. It was terrible. I learned, I don't know who brought this up. I don't know if it was an Irish thing, an Oregon thing, but tomato soup out of a coffee mug, drinking it just straight out of the cup is the best thing ever.
I'll know that now. Once it's in the winter and we have we get out there and start pucking and kicking the ball around. Now we know. There's the secret.
Yeah. And that's it. That's really the story. That's where a little badgering from the Missoula guys, a little bit of love for my wife, and that's kind of what brought hurling to Butte. And as we decided, we're trying to figure out, well, now we want this hurling team. Now we want to play. We didn't really know what we're doing, so we did some research. We found a Gaelic football team, the Wolfe Tones, in Butte. So we modeled the name after them. I have an old picture of them. We found some old news articles on them. So there was a Wolfe Tones team in Butte in the early 1900s.
So we just kind of took it like that long back ago.
Um, I'll have to check. It was a long time ago. I have the picture I have the old picture that I'm pretty sure has a date on it. I'll have to look.
It's
I'll
funny
send it.
because that's a very similar story with us as well out in Worcester. Worcester Fenians, when it came back to life. I think it was like 2008, 2009. I think it was around that time. I think it was on the crest. It's on some of our crests. But back in the 80s, 90s, they used to actually have a football team, and that's where it brought back to Worcester Fenians. So that's pretty cool. That's a very similar story. That
Yeah.
same thing. It was a football team and brought back to life by hurling, and that seems to be the common thread around the US and all over. Junior clubs, hurling clubs popping up left, right, and center, which is phenomenal to see because when you think about it, starting a football team can be a lot easier. Hurling is. I have so much admiration for a junior club starting hurling just because of the difficulty to really break. It takes. I'm still trying to figure it out.
No,
I'm
it,
I'm out in Worcester. I'm out in Worcester here now for 3-4 years, and I'm still figuring out hurling.
yeah.
But you know what? I love it. And that's where again, I had a lot of admiration for junior clubs around the US starting hurling clubs, and hence what we're trying to do is promote not just football as well, but hurling clubs and what they're doing, and what other clubs are doing that's successful, that's helping them with the growth. But with that being said, can you tell us a little bit about the club? So obviously, then you guys became the Wolfe Tones. Can you tell us a little bit more of that history?
Yeah. I mean, the history is just. I mean, we're 2018, so we're still building that history, and there had been no hurling or football in the area, so for so long, it's super exciting to be that piece of history to bring it back, and not really knowing what you're doing, the adventure of like building something that's so new to you and even all the members on the team. So out of those six, everyone is still involved. Some a little bit more than others, but all of the six original members are still in town. If they don't play on the field, they still buy us jerseys and slitters or do a little something for us. So we've been able to keep them in the loop, and that speaks to, I think, how demanding the time to get really good at hurling is. Some of our guys, we all have jobs. We, just like in Ireland, it's a secondary thing, but it's such a great secondary thing to do. You want it to be your primary thing all the time, and you're always trying to do it, but it's so hard. So I think, yeah, that's why we have some of our original six are playing, and some of them are just hanging out. They're
Well,
they're
I
there,
think you
but
actually I think you touched on some of the challenges. I mean, you talked about those sub-zero temperatures, but
oh yeah.
what are some of the challenges you guys face? Obviously, in where we are in Massachusetts, obviously we've got a big influx of Irish people. We have the J1 summer kids that come over. A lot of, obviously everybody knows the Boston Irish history. What would be your biggest challenges out there for you guys?
Yeah, we have no natural born Irish guy in town wanting to play on the team. So they come and they help us out from other places, but they don't stick around and stay. So it's trying to get a bunch of American boys to pick up this sport and love this sport. And it doesn't take much for some, but it takes a lot for others. Didn't take much for me, but I had little ties and strings all throughout my history with my family. They just kind of all connected once it started going. But yeah, that's a big challenge for us. We don't have anyone here that's been doing it or playing it their whole life or that plays it a lot. It's brand new to everybody, super brand new. So that's a big challenge. People get into it and they really like it and they're starting to see it. So I can see that changing, but that's the challenge. We don't have anyone that really has a solid foundation that lives here in Butte, and I have yet to recruit anybody to come and live here in Butte because it's cold and it's a little miserable, and the other challenge is the play-in season. We have a short season. It can kind of go long now that the falls are getting nicer, but we don't have any big indoor facilities, so we get really limited. We try our best to mess around in small gymnasiums during the year, but they're hard to get into, and it's so our winters vary, so it's tough to keep interest with my new guys in Butte because I can't play them year round, and we're pretty isolated. The closest team to us obviously is Missoula, which is 2 hours away, which isn't bad. We've been doing a lot better about getting small scrimmages with them all the time, but the rest of our division is spread out by 8-hour travel times, minimum. So we are really, to get to tournaments, we're pretty isolated.
And it's not like you guys have, Logan Airport, O'Hare, Chicago. It's still a smaller airport, so a lot of connection flights too.
It is.
Yeah, and so today is Wednesday, June 19th. When I talked to you over the phone yesterday, it was snowing. So no wonder why I wouldn't be playing.
Yeah, but guess what? It turned out it totally switched today. So today turned out beautiful at 58 degrees and sunny. So now it's wonderful.
That is torturous. I mean, the winters here are long enough. Like we've been counting down the days of summer to start, and then the last 3 days we've had a heat wave of almost 100 degrees, and now everybody's complaining. And it's like, you're probably over there like, what the hell are you guys complaining about? Bring that over here so we can actually get outside more time.
Yeah. Short season. That's just our other big challenge to kind of get us going and flying. I just looked at flights to San Francisco for nationals, and it's going to cost me way more than it should. You guys can fly from Boston cheaper than I can fly to San Francisco.
Even though that you guys are how many hour flight? Like 3-hour flight?
3-hour flight.
Less?
But flying out of Montana is terrible. Yeah, anything. It's 500 or more if I want to fly out of Montana.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Sometimes 300. It's usually, yeah. I looked at San Francisco to get to nationals. It was $450 ticket for me to get to nationals.
How far of a drive?
If I have the time, San Francisco, I think, could be like 14 hours. Doable if I have the time off.
Let's book the party bus.
It's a good idea.
Book the party bus and head up there with a team. That's it. Easy. Sorted.
Yeah.
But what will you? So you guys are obviously going to be traveling to nationals. What divisions are you guys competing in?
We're not going to compete in nationals this year. I'm just going to go down. No, we're not. We're just not ready yet. I've got 13 players on the roster, and I got 7 of those showing up consistently, and 6 showing up sometimes, and that's one of my goals. We're gonna get a team to be that competitive. We're a ways away from it, but that's the goal. We're looking for that. Those pieces of players.
I hope, obviously, my goal with a lot of this is to, again, share the stories of a lot of these junior clubs. So, I mean, I hope that whatever material we do, some clubs are able to share their stories that help with potential recruiting, because everybody's different, and no one club is the same. What we did to grow the club is probably completely different than what another place did. You just kind of have to find what works for you guys. But what has been working for you guys so far is like recruiting, because I mean, coming from nobody with Irish background, a lot of people probably didn't know what hurling is. To even get that many players is a success by itself. So what has been successful for you guys promoting the game?
The consistent, never missed, except for COVID, St. Patrick's Day game. Like, we do it rain or shine, snow or no snow. We have a turf field, so it doesn't matter. And the college always will open up the turf field. Not for us. They do it for the football team, but we like to think they do it for us because we're about the first ones ever on it. And we have an Henri Raw festival every August here in Butte that has grown and grown and grown and gotten really big. And we've volunteered with them, and we get in with the AOH, and they have really helped give us goal. They've given us a venue to be at once a year for the last 5 years. And that's really helped us get our name out there and get going and get people to see us.
So it's funny you talk about the AOH. That's something that we've actually been talking about a lot lately, which is almost that missed partnership between local AOHs. AOHs are all around the country, with Irish heritage. And,
Yeah.
I think as a whole, we need to do a lot better, not just, one place, but everywhere to really, because those are the people that have, the AOH has some of the older communities, some of the older Irish communities that have sons, daughters, grandkids that potentially play other sports and love their Irish heritage. Obviously you talk about yourself, with your family, first thing they talk about hurling is like, brilliant, let's get into it, right? Or let's do something. But there is almost that missed opportunity with the AOHs, and I think getting involved with them is a brilliant first step for any club who's looking to grow, especially in Irish sport and Irish dance and music, whatever that is. But other than that, what else are you guys doing in the community? Like how's the community embraced hurling for you guys?
Really sporadic. They every time we hold an event, Butte's a great community. If I ask somebody for help for the draft tournament, I don't get a no ever. I get a yes. The fields are free in Butte most of the time. I don't have to pay for a pitch rental. They just give it to me. They're just that generous here in Butte, and they want to see things happening. And Butte's an interesting place. It's a small town. It used to be a huge town. It was a boom town. It had 90,000 people at one time. Now it has 36,000. And it's always kind of on a little bit of a renaissance into getting better and getting more things going. And building the club at this time, that's really showing. Because the last year for the draft tournament, I went down to the M&M bar and cafe, and they had just the original building. I know it's a huge story. The building burnt down the year before. It just burnt down, and 2 years ago it burnt down, and they were just doing everything they could to rebuild it. I went down and asked her for some help, and God forbid, I know she didn't have any money to give us because she just had to rebuild her entire restaurant. But she showed up at the field with Guinness and Jameson, and didn't ask for a penny. And that's how the Butte community supports us. If they could just hand me players and force them to play, we would be immaculately staffed team. But they support us almost. If I ask, they say yes, and that's really what's kind of holding our growth together.
Well, let's talk about this draft tournament, because one I'm very interested in it. I actually love the concept of it. I love the whole idea of like you could come out there with 5 people and you are all in different teams and you get to kick the absolute living shit out of each other, which is always a great thing. As much as where I grew up, a lot of my best friends in school, we also played on the other teams. So, we were good friends at school, but once we got into the field, kicked the absolute living shit out of each other, which is brilliant. Which is why I love I love the concept of the tournament. But not just this tournament. I have to give a lot of kudos to the junior clubs around the country, especially hurling. Typically, when I first came out here in 2011, typically the football hurling season ran from maybe at the end of March, and once nationals were done in August, done, and that was it. Now you're seeing clubs like yourselves other clubs around the country putting on these sevens tournaments, and I think it's phenomenal for building the homegrown people. A lot of these junior clubs are finding a lot of success from these tournaments. Hence why we want to promote this tournament for you guys, because I think it's a phenomenal idea, and hopefully will pay tribute to future growth. So you guys can get more hurlers in that field, so we can get you to nationals next year, right?
That's
But
the goal. That's
so
why we're doing it.
tell us a little bit about the tournament, when it started, and just a little bit about it, because I'm very interested in it.
So we started, right after we were all shut down for COVID. It was kind of at the tail end of COVID, the Northwest Division. I'm on the board of the Northwest Division, and we were like, we got to get out and do something. And that year was just a mess for everybody. We didn't know what we were doing. So Eamon from Seattle, myself, he had mentioned a hockey tournament that had been done this way back when he was younger and somewhere. So we just decided, well, it'd be easier to travel alone than send a whole team. So let's do it. Let's do it in Butte, because the Northwest Division, I mean, Seattle had nationals. They were big enough already. Portland was pretty big. The Red Branch had grown quite well. Missoula had a pretty good following. Thomas Marr was built out of the Grizz team, and the Northwest Division kind of wrapped around the Butte team and just said, let's do it in Butte. And that was the whole goal, was to, and all wasn't for them guys, it wouldn't happen. The division kind of wrapped around me and said, we're going to do it in Butte, and let's do it. So we went with it. We rocked it. We came up with the idea, and then we had originally kind of kicked the idea around. The original plan was to maybe send the draft tournament to different cities in the division in the next coming years. I kind of got a little selfishly greedy, and I just stole it, and it's mine now.
I love it. So go ahead.
Yeah, go.
So as far as the tournament, so it started off as a hurling tournament, but then quickly grew into, you guys was it a football and hurling, or?
First year was football and hurling. And actually, there were more, the first year we had more football registered than hurlers. And we played dual, and of course we threw in the dual code and killed ourselves. I even played football and hurling. I mutilated myself in that tournament. But we played a lot of games that day. Hurling, football to hurling. I think it was 6 matches by the time we were done. We were beat. But the first year it was heavy on the football side, and the Portland, it was mostly the division. It was really a division tournament, but that first year we were stretched from coast to coast because we had Josh Crabtree from Florida, and we had Rory from LA, and we had David from Providence. So we had a big clump of the Northwest Division, but we had these tentacles going out to everybody. And then our
friends in Providence, huh?
David.
Our big rivals.
Are they your rivals?
I wouldn't say, yeah. I mean, we always have a good fun game against them. But yeah, no, they're doing great things down Rhode Island, and we actually will be playing them in the next couple of weeks. So they'll be in our division for Junior C. So, and I'm sure they're looking to get a good puck at us, and the feeling's probably mutual. But off the field, we have a great time together, and that's what it's all about.
Nice.
Keep it between the lines.
Yeah. And so from that, the second year, we kind of screwed up the dates, and we kind of did it early in July. So the turnout, everyone was at other tournaments. It was a bad time to do it. But I was told I kind of had to move the tournament because apparently my first year I did it too close to nationals. Didn't know that. I shouldn't do that. I was pretty close to nationals when I did it the first year. But we still got a pretty good turnout. So I learned from that mistake, and now we moved it to September, which I think is going to be really great for its future. And and it's gonna be consistent for September from now on. It'll be the 20th of September or 27th for the entirety of its whatever life it decides to live. It's gonna stay there.
So what preparations are going into this year? Is the plan to have both football and hurling?
It is.
What's the plan for this year? And then other activities that you guys are, because I see you guys are planning to do a puck fata as well.
Yeah, perfect. We got football and hurling both on the register, and camogie, or co-ed. We'll deal with rules and regulations when it comes to it. We'll figure out how to do that. We seem to figure it out in Montana very well. We'll unsanction or whatever we have to do. I don't know. I don't care what we have to do. As long as people are here playing, getting people on the field in Butte, we'll make it happen. But depends on who registers. If it's all football that registers, I will run a football tournament and tell the hurlers, see you next year. But we'll see both. Hopefully we have both. I've got great refs in both codes coming down. I got Stephen Power coming down. I got Hud Wilkins coming down. And somebody else I love this tournament. Some Paul guy that I don't even know called me yesterday. He wants to come down. So I'm like, sweet, come on down. I'm like, what are you going to give me? Or can you help us out? I'm like, well, I'll see what the budget is, but I can probably cover a plane ticket. We'll get you down here. We'll find a way. And that's kind of that's how I see hurling in Butte. This tournament doesn't make us any money. I think it came out of my own pocket last year, and it probably will this year. I try to keep the costs so low, just because asking everyone to fly across the country to come to Butte, Montana, can't charge you a bunch of money to play in a tournament. I just want you to come down here, and I want to give you a really kick-ass Masita jersey to do it. So that pretty much covers the cost of your entry fee. Gets you the jersey, but then Butte's so wonderful to us. We make it work. So there'll be with those great refs coming down. That's the planning. We have a great soccer complex, so I can make full field pitches. I can go Irish pitch regulations, which is phenomenal. So last year and this year we're gonna go full pitch, and we're gonna go 15 players, and we're gonna do full 35-minute halves.
Oh wow! So it's gonna be full 15s, huh?
It's full 15s. We did it last year, and it worked out so great. We put 20 on each team and did unlimited subs. So you could do rolling subs. So it doesn't matter what shape you're in, how old you are. Some of the over 40s can come down to this tournament and be just fine here too, because we'll let you sub in and out as many times as you want.
That's what I love about Junior C. Junior C is that roll in, roll out, and you know what it does. It takes away so once you go up into the higher levels, you've got that 13, but you might make 4 subs, but it's almost you're taking away from them older guys that just want to get in there and play a little bit as well. Like, they want to get in, play a little bit, and get out when they need to. Kind of like that. Over here, they do it so well as the over 30s, over 40s, and over 48 soccer. How it's that just rotating systems. But how they get so many people to do it over 48 leagues, they've got so many teams. Why? Because they love it. Because they can go in for 5-10 minutes. They don't have to play 90 minutes and then not be able to walk for 4 days. So it's all about enjoying it, keeping the people in it. Like we have 1 or 2 of our guys that'll get in, and if they get in there for 5-10 minutes, they are as happy out. They are happy as pig and shite. So they just want to be involved to be able to go out there and say they've kicked the ball, and they love it. So
and I'm doing so much better getting all the guys on the team are older and have kids and families already. I've struggled with the young. I haven't got the young guys yet. I haven't figured out how to pull the young athletes at Butte. That's something I have to work on for these next coming years, is to get some of those younger guys, because we're all pretty old. I can't say how old I am, but I'm another year older on Saturday. I'm getting up there. They're gonna have to change
But
the
you know
rules.
what? I admire your commitment to the growth. A lot of people would have packed it in by now, but it seems like you're still battling all through it.
I am.
And more guys like you, guys and girls, who you know selflessly put a lot of their own time into doing things like this. So I know for me, that's what the GAA community is all about, is that community spirit. And
That's why I'm still here and still doing it. Because the community that over in Missoula is just wonderful, and they keep it going. I'm an old rugby player, so it was great to come back to some form of a team sport. I didn't play any team sports in high school. I was a runner and a swimmer. Wasn't until college I started playing rugby, and then now it's hurling. But that's I still love being out there.
I'm surprised you didn't pick up football. We
You
get a lot
know,
of rugby guys
you know,
that pick up football.
and I think it was kind of just chance. It was what Missoula brought me. They didn't bring me football. They brought me hurling. Had they, back then, had they brought me football, it might have been different. I might have just gone that way. But they brought me hurling, and that's what was handed to me. So that's what I kind of had to pick up. We had a young
It's
lad, Connor, that was I forget what, he's over in the Northeast somewhere with somebody this year. I forget who he's playing with. But he came and he was a footballer, but he hurled with us, and picked up hurling pretty fast. But if he would have stuck around in Butte, and not gone back east, there might have been a chance for football here. But without him here, I didn't have the knowledge at the time to do two at once. I couldn't figure it out.
Do you know what club he's with in the Northeast?
I'm not. I'm gonna have to go spy on Facebook, and find out where he went. Connor O'Neill, but he's an old Butte kid. He was a Butte kid. He's a Butte family kid. Um,
Maybe he's in Worcester. Maybe he's in Worcester.
Could be.
If he's in Worcester, he's more than welcome.
I
We could
will.
always use a couple more lads.
I'll reach out to him and let him know. I got his Facebook connections. But yeah.
So how can people look into the event? How can they register? Just so one thing we want to do is start putting clips, and so we can get to promote this event. Because I know I'm if I can get the time, I will be there. AKA if I get the permission from the missus, I will be 100% there, because
I have a 10-year-old that will babysit if you want to bring the whole family. And she loves little kids. Registration's easy. It's up on the website. It's open. So just go to my website, thewolfetones.club, fill out the form, click submit. Tournament is $60 to enter. That's it. It was 80, then I thought 60, and then I posted it's going to be 60 for a while. It probably will stay 60 the whole time. I don't think I'm going to raise it up again, but keep an eye on it, because I do odd stuff sometimes. I might drop it to 30 for a day. I'm known to do some silly things like that. So maybe let's just do this. For the next 48 hours, it'll go to $30. You can tell people that. I'll post it right after this too.
So what we'll do is we'll do a post, and anybody who registers, we'll put it up with a post. Anybody who registers within the next 48 hours, you just tell me the price and I'll put it up there, and we'll get people registering. Hopefully we get people registering for you.
Let's do it. Let's do $40 for the next 48 hours.
All right. Deal.
Awesome.
We'll put that up. We'll put that up, and we'll put it up in a clip as well, just so we can get promoting it. But I know myself will be very interested in getting out there. One, just love getting to see different areas. Obviously, we're going to San Francisco this year for nationals. Hopefully, our teams. We have to make it there. I'll probably be going there regardless, just because it's San Francisco. We're not going to get the chance to get out there anytime soon. And going out to play in different tournaments in different areas. That's kind of my goal for the next couple of years is, how many, West Coast, they just did their sevens tournament there a couple of weeks ago. I know Florida do a couple of sevens tournaments. We want to get down to Nashville and play them in a friendly game.
Yeah,
I
that's
feel like those are the bonding experiences, that social aspect that I
well,
don't
that's
care about the ball. The ball will take care of itself, but the
yeah,
people you're going to meet, that's in
no,
that
that,
same GA community that
that
really does interest me.
yeah, that's it. The Nashville guys came down last year. Pretty much when I thought no one was going to show up and the numbers were going to be really low, the Nashville guys just like sent everybody. So they kind of rescued the tournament last year, and they just came down and made it a blast. Yeah, so we want to go down. We owe them a tournament. Our plan is to head down there. They're disappointed. They're heading up to Calgary this week, and I was supposed to go with them, but I can't. On the end of June, I was planning on it, but a few things came up, and I had to cancel, and I made them cry, I think. But they're gonna go have a blast up in Calgary.
So what is the goal? How many players? What is the goal for that tournament?
I want to see 80 players here this year. That's the pipe dream goal. I don't care if we don't make it, but that's what I want. I want 4 full teams of 20.
Let's try and make it happen.
Yeah, and we could do 2 hurling teams, 2 football teams. We could do a co-ed. We'll make it work one way or another. But I'd love to see 80 people here. We have the room for 2 full-size pitches, and we have other soccer fields, so we can do a soccer field, a little bit smaller pitch, even for football or for the co-ed games. I mean, we're pretty adaptable, but I've got the field space to put on some pretty fun stuff all in one area. So that's the goal. The goal is 80. We're going to come down the night before. And that's, like I said, this is a social tournament. My goal of doing the tournament, that's why I stole it from everybody. The division, I said I want it to be in Butte every year. It's because I want to meet everybody in the GAA, and I want them to come to Butte. Like, I want them to come to the most Irish city in America. At least we claim it is. I'm not sure it's true, but sure, St. Patrick's Day, we will hands down say it's the most Irish city in the world.
I've seen a couple of pictures from the Paddy's Day parade. It looks pretty insane there on St. Paddy's Day.
It's a huge party. Last year it was awesome. It was massive. It was nice. The weather was nice. It was on a weekend. But the night before the tournament, so Friday night, come down. We'll have dinner and a few drinks. Keep it mellow because you do have to play on Saturday, but it's fun as hell. Get your Masita jersey. Get your team. Meet a couple of people. If your flight can't make it till the next day, that's okay, but it's cooler if you can be here on Friday night. Saturday we play matches all day long. And then we go up to the pub, have dinner again, or just drinks. Last year we kind of switched it up, but there's an after party pub crawl always after the matches. There's 2 main bars you have to go to, and then I suggest 3 others. I forbid one, but no one ever listens to me. But there's one bar I forbid. We'll talk to you about that when you get here. But the rest of them are free games.
One of those bars?
Maloney's Pub, the sponsor bar Salancha, the new Irish pub Sean O'Donnell's that just opened up, are the 3, and the Knights of Columbus. So there's 4 mandatory bars you have to hit. Because they sponsor us, they take care of us, they do things for us. They're part of the community that doesn't play on the field. And the new Irish pub, he's great. Sean O'Donnell's just opened up, and super welcoming. We're gonna have some really fun things with them over the next year. But they're only 3 months old, so they just got here. It's great.
Well, Ryan, Ryan, before we wrap up, again, I wanna thank you for your time and for your commitment to growing the Gaelic games in Butte. You're doing a lot of work there, a lot of your own time to grow this tournament, to grow the club, the game. And I know the GA community needs a lot more people like you in it. So keep up the great work. And before we wrap up, how can people help you guys out? Either by sharing the tournament details, sharing the page. How can they help you guys help grow?
Really, that's the big thing. Come down to the tournament. Share the tournament. Tell someone to go to the tournament. You can always buy a T-shirt off our website. That helps us get some money to travel, but that's a little thing. Really, I think to grow hurling is if I can just get people, the more people I can get to this draft tournament every year, the more this community will see the matches, and that's going to change everything. So that's the best that anyone can do, is just come on down. And if you can't come on down, send somebody down, or that's all I can think of. Just put the word out that there's a little hurling team in Butte, Montana that's kind of isolated that could use a lot of GAA love. So just come see us.
Well, Ryan, appreciate it again. And we'll do our part trying to share that tournament. I know I'm going to do my best to be there. I'm sure Connor won't be too far behind me. But if we can get a couple of people out there to Montana for a weekend, I'm sure it's going to be a very good time.
It's a great time. Great time to be in Montana. The fall is awesome. If you want to see Montana, it's a great time to be here at the end of if you want to extend it and do a Montana vacation, the park is beautiful. It's kind of quieted down. So all sorts of loads of things to do in Montana at the time in September. It's kind of great time.
Well, you did touch on Masita as well. Before we wrap up, we always want to thank Masita for all their hard work, making sure that clubs are ready for nationals. And nationals is coming up very quick. So any teams that are getting orders in, I advise doing them now, because it is getting too close to comfort. Get your shorts, socks ready to go.
The first year, the jerseys didn't make it. They came 4 days late, and Masita we love them. They tried their hardest, but I ordered them. I cut the deadline pretty close, and they didn't come. So I had to mail all the jerseys out after the tournament. We did get jerseys, but just our local T-shirt shop printed us up jerseys overnight, which was phenomenal. But that's the one other thing. That's a good that you brought that up. To get the jersey of your size that you want, you need to register soon. Otherwise, you're going to get a large, and that's it.
Please don't tell me it's large player fit. Just regular fit.
No.
All right.
Not enough people like player fit. But that is another thing. So I'll be posting that too. I'm gonna cut the deadline. I'll kind of end the deadline to register for the tournament is pretty much going to be Masita's deadline to send the shirts.
Okay.
But we got till September. So we're looking until end of July.
Any sneak peeks?
You saw it. You picked it.
So it's that one?
It's that one. It's the one you picked.
Nice jersey.
Yeah.
I will. You give me the word, I'll share it, no problem. That is a beautiful jersey.
I just thought of this today. I guess it's kind of thrown out there, but if you want to buy a jersey to support the tournament and not come, I'll mail it to you. So that's going to be an option. It was kind of an idea I just kind of threw around in my head today. I'm like, well, I've never done that before, but we do it with all our other T-shirts, so why not? So I'll post that too. So if you just want to buy a tournament jersey and support it, that'll help fund the tournament, and you don't have to show up.
And then people can talk about that beautiful jersey.
Yeah.
That's not an oil rig.
It is not an oil rig. It's a Gallus frame.
All right.
It's a Gallus frame. Drop the mic into the mines.
We'll make sure we'll have a little description with that, because I know when I first looked at it, I was thinking the same thing, and I'm glad you clarified it. But I think we talked about it too. I love the jerseys that have meanings, local meanings in their jerseys. And I will say this is a beautiful jersey that Masita put together. And I will be, even if I'm not there, I will be ordering a jersey. Well, Ryan, thanks again for coming on. Again, wish you all the best with the tournament. And again, thank you to Masita. Thank you to USGA always for your support. And we wish you all the best in the coming months, because it's going to come by pretty quick, that tournament. So
Yeah,
start booking flights now.
Do it. It's going to go fast. It's going to be a fun season. So,
well, thanks again, Ryan. I appreciate your time.
Me too. Thanks, guys.